Hello guys, today for Deep Blue Gary Kasparov series, game number 4. And Gary, as you know, the result so far was 1.5 and 1.5. Okay, so Deep Blue Gary Kasparov, Deep Blue won the first game, and the second game was Gary's turn to win. So 1-1 after game 3 ended in draw, and now we have game 4. So let's see the game. What happened? Gary playing with white pieces, Deep Blue playing with black pieces. So let's go through the game. And Gary sticks to his strategy, and he wants a closed game, so he wants close game versus Deep Blue, so he plays the move knight to f3. Okay? So we have d5, d4, c6, c4, knight bd, e6, knight bd2, and then knight to f6. Okay? And e3. We have the Semi-Slav e3, knight bd7, and bishop d3, and in this position black avoids the Milan. Okay, avoids the Milan. So knight bd7, bishop d3, as I said, bishop d6, now e4, hitting the center. Okay. Instead of knight bd2, knight c3 could be possible, but knight bd2 is aiming for. If you just take with knight. I'm so happy there. Okay, so we have bishop d3, bishop d6, symmetrical so far. Symmetrical structure instead of c4, c3, symmetrical. Okay, you can call it symmetrical. We have e4, hitting the center, d takes on e4, and here Deep Blue was, and at this time was out of point. The best move here is e5. So let's see after e5, gassers, both gassers, c takes on d5, c takes on d5. We have just rook e1, okay, rook e8, e takes on d5, takes, and rook takes on e8, queen takes on e8, knight c4, bishop f8, bishop, and yeah, bishop f4, or just the move d6 is just playable. So d6, knight to c5, bishop f4, bishop g5. I'm sorry, bishop g4, pinning the knight. We have h3, takes the bishop, takes the bishop with queen, takes the knight with queen, sorry. And the game continues by, for example, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, and this position is already drawn. Okay, so no doubt about that, but let's go back here. Oh, here Deep Blue plays d takes on e4. We have knight charges on e4, knight charges on e4, bishop charges on e4. We have just castles. And now, what was the point of playing e5 was that you'd no longer allow to open this bishop diagonal. Okay? So maybe in future, I can exploit this. So, castles, we have h6, preventing any knight g5 or bishop g5. So, for example, after knight f6, he doesn't have bishop g5, okay? But Now e5 was also possible, so after e5 d takes on e5, knight takes on e5, but here you run into a trick after playing to e5. But the game is still draw, so I let you just to figure out what happens after e5. D takes on e5, not chapters on e5, so I will give you a little time to think about this. So pause the video and just think. I hope you find it. It's not a hard tactic to find. Yes, absolutely. Knight takes on e5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes on h7, king takes on h7, queen h5, and then queen takes on e5. Okay, so but this position, white has one pawn, but we run into the opposite color bishop, and this is just raw. Okay, and 3 2 2. And with best play, I believe it's just draw because of opposite colored bishop. So, uh, but the one for the h6 move in this position, as I said, to prevent any knight g5 or bishop to g5, then we have bishop to c2 coming back. Maybe later he wants Gary. Sorry. Oh, what is happening with this? Uh, so I just pause it. Okay, just a problem with my mouse happened. I just getting that. Bishop to c2, we are just aiming queen to d3 and queen here, okay? We have e5 now, and Gary plays the simple one, rook e1, but what happens after queen d3 is f5, we have c5, bishop coming back to c7 or b8, c7 maybe is the best move, b8 is just preventing the rook to come to this rank, okay, and also in disconnect the connection between the rooks, so bishop to c7, I believe it's a better move here, bishop, not here or here, defending this, and bishop b8 I don't write because it disconnected the rook. Okay, so bishop c7 could be a move after takes. Then we have maybe bishop b3 or just queen to c4. Queen b3 I don't like really. Maybe just too passive. But after here he can maybe go rook to f7. What about rook f7? No, rook f7 is wrong because of queen c4 bishop b3. Uh, but king's normal king to h8 or king to h7. Maybe then just we are going queen c7 next, and just bring in the bishop here, or just queen to e7. For example, after rook to d1, maybe just queen to c7 or queen to e7. Queen e7 also hits the pawn on c5 is good, and we are just threatening to go here, right? After here, for example, we have just this, okay? So you'll just lose the tempo there. So, but Gary went for the straight run rook e1. We have e takes on d4. A better move could be bishop to b4. Why? Because after e takes on d4, queen takes on d4, your bishop is just hanging there. So bishop to b4 is aiming this. I just put my piece away and threat your piece, and then take on e4. Okay, for example, after here, then here. Okay, and that was actually played in the game. So after rook to e1, rook to e1, bishop b4 was not played. Instead, it takes it on d4 was played. Okay. Then we have queen takes on d4, bishop c5, queen to c3. A better move could be maybe queen to f4. Queen to f4 or queen to c3 are both fine. No problem with those moves. Queen to f4 aims to somehow disbrand pressure, okay? And maybe it's some future I just start pushing the also the G pawn, okay? So maybe queen to f5 is a good move, and this position, and queen to f5 is actually maybe the I can say that it is the main threat of white. For example, after here, you could just queen to f5. If you go knight f6, then I'll just take your bishop. Okay, so knight to f6 is not playable there. For example, if you want maybe bishop to g6 is playable, or maybe he just goes here, or no. But how can I do this? Uh, Maybe just bishop to d2 and bishop d2, bishop c3 just to pressure this pawn on g7. Okay, but Gary went for queen to c3. We have a5, and the aim of queen c3 is actually I want to play b4, keep your bishop away, and then go like bishop b2 there. Okay, so as for example, bishop. If you let me just play b4 and bishop to b3, for example, after tell you guys after here, go bishop to e7, then bishop. Oh, actually, maybe bishop h6 is possible now, which we already will discuss, and in some moment of the game, bishop h6 was possible. So let's go the game further and to say, okay, so a5 prevents b4. We have a3. If you think a moment here, then you might say that still bishop b4 is possible. Why? After here takes, I'm just attacking your queen and attacking your rook. But the problem is queen to d3. If you take my rook, then I have queen to h7, it's mate. Okay, so you can't do this. And one idea is to go a4. Computer I recommend suggest a4 move. So after to a4 we have bishop to f4, queen to a5, offering queen exchange, and the game just continues. So, but Deep Blue played knight to f6 in this position, and this moment Gary was explaining the move that he could have played in the game, but he didn't play it. And somehow he didn't write that move. Okay, so uh, in this moment Gary played bishop to e3, but I will give you time to just figure out what to do in this position, what is the best move for white. So pause the video and just think. I hope you just find it. It's bishop takes on h6. So the best move here for Brad is to take on f2 with Jack, but let's see what happens if he just takes it. Okay? If he takes, then rook a1, bishop d7, and now what is the cool move of Gary if he could play it? It's very hard to see it. I don't really expect you to find this move. It's the move quiet h3. And since Black is so powerless to defend against this position, h3 is possible. So what is the aim of h3? No, rook e5 is coming. For example, if you go rook e5, queen 3, then there is b6 defending it. And if you go b4, it takes b4, it takes b4, bishop to e7, and it's kind of defending. But maybe in the bracket position is a serious Zugzwang. Okay, so in Zugzwang, your opponent pieces or your pieces can not go anywhere where could they benefit of. Okay, so the move h3 aims this. For example, what happens if he unpins? Then I just take the knight. I just take the knight. Okay, if you what you want to do after bishop to maybe bishop e7, you could somehow pray, but knight to e5 is just calming down a lot of trouble for yourself. But what happens after, for example, rook to e8? Let's see, for example, rook e8, we just take, and if you take with knight, if you take with queen, then I take your knight there, okay? So you're just losing this. If you take with bishop, then I just take your queen and complete with money, next taking your knight either. So it's not easy position to play. We have knight e5. If you just play knight to f6 in this position, then we have the move, what? Queen g3. Yeah. After queen g3, king to f8, we have queen to f4 hitting the pawn on h6. If you just play this move, then here comes rook takes on d7. If you take, then here is just mate. So if you take with queen, then you are just losing your queen and again. Yeah, after here, just taking your knights too. So let's go back. But Gary didn't play this one. Maybe he couldn't find h3 move. Okay, finding h3 is very crucial and hard. Quiet move. Who plays h3 in this position? Maybe even Magnus doesn't find that. Okay, so but here is Kuran, maybe Kasparov, so it and just refuses. Refuse to go bishop takes h6. We have bishop takes on f2, king takes on f2. You have to take. If you go king h1, I just play bishop takes on e1, okay, and maybe just even take that. Either, okay, g takes on h6, and you're just completely losing this game. So king takes f2, we have knight to g4 check, king g1, and knight takes on h6. So you might wonder what is the problem of this for black, but as you can see, the knight is passive, you don't have play on this side. And here it's interesting that the computer suggests after a4 something like bishop d2. Now you are allowed to play knight f6. After bishop takes h6, bishop takes f2, king takes f2, knight g4, king g1, knight takes on h6. Then you can see that actually this pawn is somehow blockaded, and the activity of this pawn is of this structure there. So bright position is not very serious. Okay, so I hope that oh just okay, I just ran to this problem again. Okay, I just came back, and but in this position, Gary didn't play the move bishop takes on h6. He played the simple one, bishop to e3. He wanted to just simplify the position. Okay, we have bishop takes on e3, rook takes on e3, and bishop coming to g4, and knight to e5. Okay, hitting the bishop, but the Deep Blue doesn't mind if Gary takes his bishop with knight to exchange that with the knight. We have rook coming to e1, bishop to e6, and f4 from Gary. A better move could be g4 in this position. G4 playing is somehow hard. Taking this pawn is not possible because of rotates e8 in the middle. For example, after this, after here, then you just rotate into this. Okay, either with the bishop or with the knight is not playable to take on g4. So we have, for example, knight d7 could be a move. Then h3 defending the pawn on g4. We have queen c7 takes, and queen to e5. Queen to d2, rook 1 to e2, and the game continues. Okay, so another possibility to defend is maybe, oh, sorry. Another possibility to defend is to maybe go simpler rook c8 in this position. Okay, so but we're just not going to view this. But Jerry has played the move f4 in this position. We have f4, queen to c8. A better move could be b5. Okay, we have rook to d1, queen c7, and c captures on b5, knight to d5 intermediate move. We have rook takes on d5, bishop takes on d5, and this queen to d3 move. Okay, after g6, then sacrifice is not playable because he has in the if you just say he just takes this, okay? For example, if you just here take here, he just plays this, and he takes the knight eventually and then in the game, so it's not possible to take. And if you just take this immediately, then you just run into trouble after queen to g6, queen to f8, here, you just lose into rook g3, and if you go queen to f7, then I have queen to d6. After here, for example, then you just run to rook g3, and this is completely routing of queen takes on this. For example, after here, okay? So you must give your queen, playing queen g7, and I just take. But that didn't happen in the game, so let's go to the main round. After f4, we have just queen c8, h3. We have now b4. We now have b5 actually. After f5, Gary tried f5. This move was very shocking, and somehow people crashed in this point. You might just wonder how, why. Uh, we have bishop takes on c4, but let's see what happens after bishop takes on f5. Gary's idea was to take on f7. For example, this, then we have just knight takes on f7. If you knight to f7, there's possible lines that lead to draw. One of them is somehow b4. Tricky one is b4. Okay, so one of them is just to take on c2. For example, after knight takes on h6, we have just queen to h8. If you just take, then you are just completely losing after queen to c2. Okay, so there are a lot of penetration for white, and black can never handle those. So one of them is actually rotates on e3. But what happens after knight to h6? We have now you are just able to take, but king to h8 also makes the game drawish. We have rotates on e3, and maybe a simple one just could be knight to f7 after here, then knight to h6. If you play here, then you are just running into trouble here, and you can never defend this. So your bishop is under attack. I'm just coming to queen to e7 and mate, okay? And white is completely winning in this position. So uh, you must repeat king h8 and then knight h6, king to h8 or king to h7 also maybe. And what happens after king to h7 is completely winning because of this and this and this and rotates on c3. We have b takes on c3, b takes on c4, and this is winning for white, but I believe the best play because of rook endgame. This is also a draw. But Dipper played the best move, avoiding any complications. Played bishop takes c4. We have knight takes c4, b takes c4, rook takes e8, knight takes on e8, and simple rook to e4. I should notice that queen takes on f5 is not possible of just taking the knight, and if you just take, I just take it back. Okay, so white is completely remaining in this position, so taking off on f5 is not possible. We have knight f6, rook takes c4, knight to d5 hitting the queen. We have queen to e5, queen to d7, rook to g4, and Gary is trying to create some counterplay on the king side and just to trade any pawns on the queen side. Okay, we have f6, queen to d4, king to h7, rook to e4, and you should notice that the knight is a good place, is well placed on the d5, but and Yari has this right square and can attack it, so the pro later eventually tries to put it on e5 there. So we have just rook d8, king to h1, queen c7, queen f2, queen to b8 attacking the pawn, and it was a question for Gianni where to put his bishop to defend this pawn, and he did it right, played bishop to a4, we have c5, and it was also possible just to take on c5, and giving up this pawn, queen takes b2, then we have just bishop c2 coming back and defend. And this position has no problem for white. But Gary went for bishop c6. Now he's just threatening to take the pawn. And if you just takes, then I'll just take your knight, for example. Okay. So the pro just pushed it. c4. We have rook c4. And here comes the tactic. And one of the tactics could be knight to c3. If you just take the float or just pawn, then you're just winning after this, okay? It's completely winning, and you can never make a fortress to survive this position, okay? Uh, and as I said, the queen is just controlling this, so you have no king h2 though, okay? So queen to g1 you must play, and you are just raising it. Also the same issue for the b takes on c3 again, here, and completely winning for black. So, but people played also the same idea night before. We have bishop to f3 defending the square of d1 with the bishop. We have just And now in bishop knight over knight b4, knight d3, he gained his idea to jump with this. And with knight on e5, the bishop, right square bishop, he can never attack. So we have queen at to h4, queen takes on b2, queen to g3, queen takes, grabs the pawn on a3. We have rook coming to c7, and here it was better to go somehow queen to b1 or knight to e5 here, okay? Deep Blue in this position gave Gary a lot of counterplay. After rook to c7, queen to f8, defending the pawn on g7, we have rook a7 and knight coming back to e5. Rotates on a5, then we have queen to f7, and here Gary went for the simplification and rotates on e5. Rotates root on e1 was also possible there. Okay, thought about that. Rotates e5 was a very straight simplification. Yet Gary find very nice. Queen to takes on e5, rook d8, and in later he just managed to put his bishop on the g6 square and just make a draw in that game. So you see the moves, and in this position, Deep Blue team decided to draw and accept the draw. I hope you just enjoyed this video. Please like and comment on this video, and please subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Goodbye for now.